This Louisiana woman fused to a couch after she sat in the same spot for 12 years. On the 3rd of January, 2022, at around 2 a.m., the emergency services received a phone call from a distressed parent. They had just found their 36-year-old daughter, Lacey Fletcher, unresponsive on the family couch. For further go, I want to tell you, you just watch my videos, but not subscribe my channel. Please subscribe my channel. When the emergency services arrived at the household in Slaughter, Louisiana, they discovered the horrifying reality of Lacey Fletcher's fate. She had not simply died on the couch. She had rotted, melted even so badly that her skin had fused with the leather material. Hello viewers, today in this video, I will tell you the harrowing and heartbreaking case of Lacey Fletcher, the girl who was left to rot. So, without wasting our time, let's start the video. Lacey Fletcher was born on the 25th of November 1985 to parents Clay and Sheila Fletcher. As a child, Lacey was described as a vibrant, smart, and fun girl who was maybe a little immature for her age at times. She enjoyed hanging out with her friends, loved the music of Mariah Carey, favored Disney movies, and was even part of the Bronzeville Baptist Academy volleyball team. However, as she transitioned into adolescence, she began to encounter numerous problems. According to Clay, Lacey's father, Lacey was fine up until 9th grade, when she began to develop a serious social anxiety disorder, Asperger's, and an array of debilitating phobias. One such phobia caused her to fear using a toilet, as she once saw a snake in a toilet when watching TV. At the age of 15, Lacey was diagnosed with a social anxiety disorder and autism spectrum disorder. It said that Lacey received psychological treatment for her mental state, but the length of time varies from source to source. Regardless of how long she was treated, one day, Lacey never returned to the doctor. The last sighting of Lacey was by a neighbor. When Lacey was 21 years old, she was seen walking outdoors with a dumbbell in each hand. Then suddenly and seemingly, Lacey dropped off the face of the planet. Warning: this segment contains graphic descriptions of the deceased. When the emergency services spoke to Sheila Fletcher on the phone, she told them that her daughter was not breathing. When she was asked about her daughter's age, she incorrectly guessed 3 times before settling on the age of 31. This too was incorrect, as her daughter was actually 36 years old. Lacey Fletcher was discovered on a brown leather couch, with her legs crossed beneath her and her eyes and mouth wide open. She was naked from the waist down, with a shirt pulled up over her torso, revealing her breasts. It got worse. Not only did she have a horrifying look on her deceased face, but Lacey's skin had literally fused to the material of the couch. How is this possible, you ask? Because Lacey Fletcher had not moved off that same spot for 12 years. Not only had Lacey quite literally melted into the couch she had been sitting on for over a decade, but her body was emaciated and smeared in fecal matter. Feces was also found in her mouth, on her face, and even in her ears. Her body was so malnourished that she weighed only 96 pounds, around 43 kilograms. When she was moved from the couch, Lacey's skin peeled away from her bones. Scratch marks were found on the arm of the couch, along with an unused toilet and a table, which contained items such as wipes, talcum powder, and various other ointments. The stench in the house was described as unbearable, but the house itself, apart from the couch, where Lacey had been imprisoned for so long, was clean and tidy. The autopsy report contained even more gruesome details of how Lacey Fletcher met such a grisly and undignified end. The coroner who examined Lacey Fletcher's body, Avale Burkham, detailed that the official cause of Lacey's death was sepsis. Her official time of death was 3 a.m. on January 3rd, but he believed she had expired 24 to 48 hours before Sheila Fletcher rang the emergency services. Burkham's examination revealed that Lacey had suffered from starvation, a bone infection, COVID-19, and kidney failure, and that stage for decubitus ulcers, also known as bed sores, littered her ravaged body. These ulcers also contained live maggots. Her hair, also swarming with maggots, was so matted that a scalpel was needed to cut it from her head. With regards to the unfathomable amount of time Lacey had spent sitting in the same spot, her tailbone had flattened. Sheila Fletcher had claimed that Lacey had eaten a sandwich and half a bag of Cheetos the night before and was alive at 10 p.m. when Sheila went to bed. However, the autopsy revealed that Lacey's stomach contents were found to be foam from the couch and feces. The state of Lacey's body, and arguably stomach, churningly horrendous and hard to comprehend. How could she have possibly lived for as long as she did with such injuries? Because of their need and desire for decomposing meat, the maggots that were eating on Lacey's rotting flesh were actually keeping her alive. Lacey Fletcher was allowed to waste and die in her own filth for 12 years, or 4,383 days, while maggots consumed her rotting flesh. It was, and still is, a mystery how Clay and Sheila could have looked on helplessly while their own daughter suffered a vast period of time before her body eventually gave way, due to the severity of the carelessness she experienced. Clay Fletcher was 65-year-old, and Sheila Fletcher was 60-year-old, were arrested on January 3, 2023, on charges of second-degree murder. Questioning of Clay and Sheila continued on January 18th, when Sheila discussed how Lacey had seen a psychologist back in 2000 when she was around 14 years old. According to the Fletchers, the reason why Lacey never returned to the doctor for continued help was because Lacey refused to do so. Her father claimed that, as Lacey was legally an adult, she was able to make her own medical decisions. Clay and Sheila went back to the doctor without Lacey to tell him about her behavior, because they say she started urine and feces on the floor of the living room and would not go back for assistance. After that, the doctor advised them to check Lacey into a mental health facility and even provided them with instructions on how to proceed. But Lacey was never admitted to any facility, nor did she see another doctor again. Clay Fletcher also stated that, once in 2007, Lacey managed to dress herself whilst her mother was out of town. He claimed that this showed her mental ability to make deliberate choices and that they lacked the authority to make decisions for her. The reason they claim Lacey never left the couch was due to her forming agoraphobia, a phobia that became so severe that anything outside the perimeter of the couch was considered outside. In her testimony, Sheila said that Lacey had never expressed any pain and that she was unaware of the severity of her illness. There are many things we would do differently looking back, with hindsight being 20/20ths, Lacey's father said. It is clear now, despite her resistance to assistance, our love for her was unwavering, and we never wanted her to die. There are many theories as to why Lacey was unable to move from the couch of her own volition. The first theory cites locked-in syndrome. It posits that Lacey was physically unable to move due to this rare, but real syndrome that causes full body paralysis. The affected person cannot move any part of their body apart from their eyes, although they still have full cognitive control. However, Dr. Burkham challenged this theory due to the couch foam found in her stomach. The second theory alleges that Lacey was physically retrained during her teenage years and early 20s, which could result in muscle atrophy, making her unable to move. Thirdly, some believe Lacey's severe psychological and emotional symptoms were so crippling they left her immobile. She may have had the physical ability to move, but was psychologically unable to do so. The fourth and final theory, which is one both Clay and Sheila defend vehemently, is that Lacey simply chose to never move from the same spot for 12 years. Regardless of the theories mentioned above, Clay and Sheila Fletcher had a responsibility to help their daughter, who was clearly suffering both mentally and physically. Lacey sat in a crater on a brown leather couch in their home filled with 12 years of excrement. She suffered from ulcers. So, infected maggots had infested her wounds, literally eating her alive. It should not matter if Lacey did refuse help. They had an obligation as parents and caregivers to step in and help their daughter, who it seems was clearly unable to make sound decisions about her health, regardless of her age. During sentencing, Clay and Sheila opted for a no-contest plea, which would shield them from a trial. They did not want to lose their daughter again through the media. However, the prosecution presented hours of detailed and gruesome testimony, which is an uncommon practice during a no-contest plea. Due to a unanimous decision by all those involved in the case, this particularly uncommon practice was pushed into action. A psychologist who interviewed Clay and Sheila determined that they had no mental health issues that caused them to neglect their daughter to such an extent. The psychologist did claim that their ignorance could stem from a caregiver superiority complex, a complex that allows people to believe they know better than everyone, including professionals. Clay and Sheila Fletcher were both sentenced on March 20th, 2024 to 40 years in prison, with 20 of those years suspended. District Judge Betsy Jones said, "We can argue about whether or not this process took 3 months, 6 months, or 3 years. I don't really care. This was a tragedy. The truth is that Lacey laid on a couch and slowly died because she got no medical or mental health care." Viewers, this was the harrowing and heartbreaking case of Lacey Fletcher, the girl who was left to rot. Viewers, what you can say about this story, tell me in the comment box. Thanks for watching. If you found this story gripping, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more chilling true crime stories. And remember, if you or anyone you know is battling dark thoughts, don't hesitate to reach out to a mental health professional. Until next time, take care of yourself, and I meet you in a new interesting video.